By getting ready for, oh yes, tomorrow night. Yes. Arc launch preview chat. Samo is hosting, I believe, Monday night, and I'll be stopping by for a few minutes to hang out. Obviously, if since we don't get full details until the servers actually go down, and they're not going down until 4 a.m. my time, and well, Tuesday's a work day. That ain't happening. But I'll still stop by, hang out, chat with the gang for a little bit, which is always just a fun time before I shuffle on off to bed. But we are going to go through some highlights from Beck's video. I'm not going to go through the whole. I mean, I could go through the whole thing. It's not that long. But we're just going to hit on a few of the high points, and then of course, any of you guys who saw DJ's stream on Friday, which I think Beck was also part of, can fill in the blanks of anything that might have been added, or any clarification that may have been made about the way certain things are going to run. And then we'll all be in the know together, and then we can all get really excited for Tuesday. And I will at least, again, give them, we'll give them a high five. They get a high five for putting this information out ahead of time. Normally we don't get this stuff until like Monday afternoon or Monday night, and it's like, great, this is what we're getting tomorrow. Having some more details in advance is a good thing for the community to kind of know, to kind of be able to plan a little bit, to strategize, to kind of understand the mechanics before the thing actually takes place. And we kind of want to encourage that behavior from them so they keep doing it, because that would be nice too. Bar for new officers getting raised again. That's very likely. I mean, we've done the analysis on that a couple of times now. We're up 300% in the last 9 months from where it was last, October, November, when this scoring system was released, to where we are now. Materials still count exactly the same, but point values have gone up 300%. Top 10 answers are on the board. Point values are tripled. Yep, just like Family Feud. But while we're doing this, I got 19 minutes to kill stuff. I'm not going to make it 19 minutes. I'll be dead in like 8 minutes. But while I'm going ahead and killing some of this stuff, let's talk about this Galaxy Quest invasion that's coming. So, from the brief little notes that we got, we can tell there's a couple of changes that are going to happen with these hostiles. So, it's a server wide global event, right? But it's not like every system kind of thing happening. It will, in fact, be a lot like an event we have on Sundays here, the Discovery event, right? Whatever that's called. I forget the name of it. But essentially, you're going to have hostiles from another system or from another area that are coming into targeted systems, and they will show up on your map with a clear indicator of where they are, so it's not like a complete scavenger hunt. Thank God for that. It will look something like this. If we paused our video, let's go full screen on that. So you can see the systems will have little markers. Again, just like we see on Sundays with the Discovery event, so you know which systems to go into. And then you will have to kill various hostiles of different levels. And killing them, they'll drop a new currency. Shocker. Anomalous phenomenon. Thank you. I couldn't think of the name. They'll drop a new currency. This is open to everyone 25 and up. So the 25s will drop a new currency. You will then take that currency and exchange it, like we always do, in some type of refinery bundle. Who knows what the cooldowns will be on it? Is it a daily cooldown? Is it just cash it in like an event store thing whenever you want to keep things moving along. That'll earn points for the server. There's server milestones to hit to kind of protect the galaxy from these invaders. And the new wrinkle this time around is that these hostiles will have a 10 round limit for fighting instead of the full 100 rounds. I think it's fine. Because I'm pretty sure it's all the hostiles, right? Invading entities. Oh no, I'm sorry. The invading entities. Oh no, those are the chimeras. Okay, so they're all invading entities. So they all have a 10 round limit on it. Now obviously you go to your battle log and look, not a lot of fights are going 10 rounds. I'm up here killing 48s with my level 47 ship. The fight's over in 6 rounds. So the 10 round cap, I'm not overly concerned about. I don't think a lot of stuff is going to make it 10 rounds. So I think what we're going to have to worry about more here is just the volume. How many hostiles are you going to have to kill in order to get rewards? What are the turn-ins going to be like? Yes, they don't regenerate health if they survive. So if you don't kill that, if it goes 10 rounds and it's a draw, you just attack it again, right? Until you kill it. So that part doesn't seem to bother me too much. Now against the higher level hostiles, that are called chimeras, they are essentially like mini armadas, it looks like. So those are going to have a bit of more of a restriction on them. So of course, if you don't kill it in 10 rounds, now you got to spend currency to fight it again. That one's a little more iffy. Obviously, you'll have to figure out where your power balance is, where you can find the thing that you can kill in 10 rounds. So maybe for me, it might be like punching at a 45 instead of hitting a 48 because the fight might take 11 or 12 rounds. And that will play around with a little bit in the beginning. But those are also more intended for the 40 plus crowd anyway. So if you're still in your 30s, you don't really have to worry about that part of it. You'll just go to your invading system, smack around the hostiles, pick up your loot, turn it in the refinery, and call it a day. Chris says the kicker is officers that will work. Now that could be a bit of a challenge depending on what's going on there, because they're not considered armadas or hostiles. Well, that's interesting. If they're not going to be flagged as either one of those, so therefore, a lot of officers have those keywords in their abilities. When you're taking damage from a non-armada hostile, you're taking damage from this, or you're fighting against, I don't think there's anybody who says like non-player target. There might be a few officers who say that. So that could make things a little more challenging. We might have to get a little more creative with officer sourcing. Or, of course, this is going to be how you're going to want to mix you into the new officers. How are we going to get you to want to get these officers? How are we going to get you to want to pay to get these officers quickly? Oh, their abilities are going to be the ones that work against these new types of hostiles. And probably only these new types of hostiles. Or how are we going to get you to pay for the ship? That might be more of the kicker, right? Because obviously we did see in the graphics there is the NSEA protector fighting in one of the graphics. So we're getting the ship. It's probably going to be like the NX-01 or the Franklin, where it has a huge bonus against these particular invading targets. So of course it's going to be, how do we get you to buy that? Well, because it's the only way for you to, or it's the better way for you to compete. So DJ said that the officers will work outside the loop. Well, that's good to know. The question, of course, is going to be, is, you know, how useful their abilities will be outside the loop. Are they only partly useful? Is it, one of their abilities, like if they have a bridge ability or a lower deck ability, like their one ability is useful for this, and then they have a more universal ability elsewhere? What's up, Madrox? But definitely going to have to see some more details about how these officers play out and how they're acquired. Because that's the thing, too. Obviously, trying to start off the month, you're not going to have any of this stuff. And there will be players who will spend just so that they can participate, essentially, effectively. And Scopely counts on that with new mechanics all the time. And that's the part of things, the way they've gone the last, year or so, that I don't like about the trend of the game, is that every new month there's a new, every new arc there's a new loop and a new mechanic and there's a new ship and stuff like that. And it's like, we want you to participate in our new events, but we've paywalled all of the access to it, or the easier access to it. How much life do we have left? Can we kill another one? 1.8. What's up, Les? I think I can get one more. It's a little too risky. We'll call it a day. He said like 80% of the new officers have non-Galaxy Quest related abilities. Well, that's good, because again, that will help give them longevity outside of the arc. And that's always a big plus. But let's just take a little gander in here. What else we got? So the other stuff we have here, obviously our new hostiles. They're teaming up with the Klingons. We'll have to see where that goes storyline-wise. And here's where they talk about the 10-round limit. Fighting them, there is a little bit of an event store where you can turn in stuff. Now, Beck went into that in more detail in her video, which I want to pull back up here. So obviously here she's showing us the systems here, a little bit about what we had there. We get to look at a few of the hostiles. The lower level hostiles, again, fairly weak. So even just on pure ship power and stuff like that, you should be able to easily find stuff to kill. Even if you are a lower level player and you're in your mid-20s, you should be able to find stuff that you can kill to participate in the arc and in the events. And then here, of course, we see the officers aboard the NSEA Protector. And you look at these stats right here, no idea what level this player is, because, of course, they blacked it out. So we can't see that. But what we can see is that this ship is 2.5 billion strength at level 1 with 1.5 billion hull health. Is this a level 70 player that they were just like, hey, we'll just take, full stats and full research? Footage taken in a test environment. Values, names, and final graphics may differ on launch. Well, no kidding. No kidding. I don't think we're going to see that they're going to be that strong there. Then you get to these guys, right? These invading entities. These are the chimeras. These are your armada targets, effectively, right? They even look like armadas. So that's going to require you to use a currency to fight them. Obviously, you can see they don't regenerate hull health. You get a reward chest if you kill them. And armada-specific buffs do not apply. And the fight only lasts 10 rounds. So, going to have to go in guns blazing. But I think there's a spot where it shows that there is. So there's the cargo that it's dropping, which I'm sure is the event store currency there. But I feel like, there you go. So it does require. Now this looks like the same currency you get from killing it. So at least that seems like the loop is going to feed into itself. So that right there costs 100, looks like, to fight one, And it looks like that's the same loot you're getting back, which you get 1400 for killing it. Unless, of course, they changed the graphics or haven't picked a graphic yet. But they look like they're the same mechanic. It's probably not going to be the case. It's probably just a placeholder graphic. And we'll have to wait and see what's going on later, unfortunately. Now, this particular player here we see is a level 42 account with their, 2 billion plus NSEA protector. So, Floyd's wondering is will they remain behind after the arc ends, like these hostels and things like that? I don't think so. No, they shouldn't. I'm guessing that may also be what Mad Hatter is saying no to as well. Because it sounds like, hey, they're just popping in, they're going to do their thing, and then they're going to go away. Kind of like the Borg invasion, right? There were a lot, I mean, obviously the Borg system stayed behind, so maybe that's not a good example, but it sounds like these guys are just going to go away and they will come back again someday. Obviously, once, maybe we'll see them again 6 months down the road, and maybe it'll be once a year, there'll be like a filler arc where they'll be like, hey, Galaxy Quest Part 2. And then, 8 or 9 months later, hey, Galaxy Quest Invasion number 3. And they'll just keep throwing these in there as kind of filler months between arcs and content where they can just keep bringing this mechanic back, this event store back, giving people the opportunity to source the officers and tier them up. On a recurring basis, and it's content that they can just be like, hey, what do we got lined up for next month? It's like, hey, we don't really have anything where we're still working on this. We need more time to develop it. Great, let's just bring Galaxy Quest back for a month then. We'll just rerun that arc, and it'll be fine. It kind of gives them the opportunity to use this mechanic to kind of lessen that quantity that we keep talking about, where they keep pushing new, 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 new. This gives them something that's a little recyclable that they can run every 6+ months or whatever, and just sort of take a little break. So, FaZe, thank you very much for the subscription at Tier 1 for 15 months. Welcome on in. Appreciate you resubscribing to the channel. Hope you're doing well. DJ also teased that the Battle Pass is going to have even more resources than it normally would. Well, I think that's also part of the whole equation, right? Part of the whole inflation we've seen over the last year is that the point values for like acquiring officers and things keep going up, but the packs keep having more materials in them. The treasury keeps getting more materials in it. The battle passes keep getting more materials in it, and it's supposed to sort of offset it. That, hey, we're giving you more, and we just need you to keep spending the same amount of, things. The problem is that it just means you have to do more upgrades, right? If they're giving you more materials, but they're raising the point value, so you have to still spend all of the materials that you get in a given month, you start to run into the point of, well, where am I going to spend that? And that's kind of, I guess, the trap that they've wanted people to be in for a while, because it forces you to keep moving up. You're going to run out of stuff eventually. If you're trying to camp at 39, you'll run out of stuff to upgrade, right? You're out of buildings to upgrade. So all you can spend your materials on, maybe research or ships. And it's like, well, I don't have the ship parts for it. I have all the materials for it, but I don't have the ship parts to do stuff half the time. Well, then you better just move on up into the 40s so you can get a whole new batch of stuff to start spending on to do your upgrades. And that's where that whole cycle kind of goes in. So they're kind of, I feel like that's sort of the end result of where this little power creep has gone. It's just to kind of run out of ways to spend, because now you have to do multiple upgrades to still accomplish the same point values. So it's just part of an illusion. I mean, kind of, sort of. The other thing that we did find out from Beck's video and her Galaxy Quest officer little outfit there, it's a good looking jacket. I wonder if they found that online somewhere or where that came from. But she does kind of go in here as to what's in the event store. So you've got the opportunity to get, whoops, sourcing one of the 4 officers. This is Sigourney Weaver's character. Sourcing blueprints for the new ship, whether that will have any type of restriction on it, I don't know. You guys might have seen something about that. Question is whether we've got, can you get the full ship unlocked? Can you only get half the ship and then you have to buy the other half in the event store, or I'm sorry, not the event store, like in the pay store, or you have to buy the $20 battle pass to get the ship from the bottom half because they won't let you just earn the whole thing free to play. Maybe they will. We'll have to wait and see on that. This is a new type of like faction token. And then we've got regular resources, Syndicate XP, and Mirror Dust also available through turn-ins. So again, don't know how we're going to get the other 3 officers, but at least we know where sourcing for one of them will be. And again, is it something that's going to be restricted in terms of the number of shards that you can get? Like could you just spend 21 days grinding, get enough currencies, do multiple pulls of your refineries to then get the whatever event store currency and just dump it all into her? And that sounded weird, but so you could level her up and tier her up. I don't know. I'm sure the refinery things and the conversions are going to have cooldowns on them. So even if you were just grinding away, you're going to end up with a lot of extra loot that you probably can't convert enough of to source multiple things in here. We'll probably get Tim Allen's character. Will probably be your officer auction. Maybe he'll have somebody else in there with him. And then how you'll get the other ones, they might be pay only, right? I guess we'll have to wait and see about that. I think that's all she talked about in here. We'll go ahead, we'll give her a thumbs up. Good job, Baxter. I don't think there was anything else that, again, it was only a 5-minute video that got covered. Obviously, the other little spoiler is that the Klingons are teaming up with them. So that could present some opportunities for additional faction rep or something. If you're killing certain hostiles, they might have Klingon-related objectives as well. That might earn you Federation rep or something like that too. So. But I think that's kind of it for what's kind of covered there. Are they bringing in TOS era Klingons as well? I mean, it does look like TOS era from the graphics, right? Actually, the guy in the picture kind of looks like Michael Dorn without his makeup on. If you've seen Dorn in his non-Worf attire, it kind of looks a little similar, like to a younger version of him. So I'm not sure exactly what they're going to do there. DJ did say the Battle Pass would be good this month. I mean, he did mention, from what they were saying earlier, that there will be more resources and materials available. If there's officer shards in there, great. If there's ship blueprints in there, great. We know we're getting a store to convert stuff in. So we're not quite sure. We're, again, going to have to see what the values are, right? The mechanics seem like they could be okay on paper. They seem like they could be okay. But as always, there's the implementation of it, right? What are the values? What are we getting? What are the turn-ins? What are the restrictions? What are the time gates? What are the ops locks? What's paywalled? Because that's kind of what makes the content fun or not fun. When people can engage in stuff and do it fairly consistently and have access to a lot of stuff, even if they have to grind hostiles to do it to get enough loot to turn in, people are willing to invest the time if they can. When you start asking them to invest $300, $400, $500 plus a month in order to participate in your events and to acquire your content, that's where a lot of people start to get the grumbles, right? and they're just, you know what? That's okay. I'll just skip this arc. I really wasn't that thrilled about it to begin with, and now you're just trying to sell it to me. Screw you. I don't care. We're already hearing that from people. We're already hearing people saying they're buying a 30-day shield and just throwing that up, and we'll see you in September. Two people in my alliance already said that. Whether they actually do it or not, I don't know. But they were just like, this arc is going to be terrible. I'm not wasting my time or energy on this nonsense. Not even willing to think about it and give it a chance. I only need 4,500, I think, so I think that's good. Awesome. Voldaris is at that same point, just skipping the arc altogether, and it's like, yep, I'll see you when I see you. I can understand that. As long as I have the exocomp active, I should look and see. Where am I? I'm low on ISO. Okay, let's go get some. Let's go get some Gorn while I still have a few minutes left on this. Darth says that makes no sense. Just ignore the GQ related stuff and keep on keeping on your normal events. That will just feed your main game. You could do that too. Obviously, you could just keep doing your mining dailies and your freebooter dailies, and you know, and maybe they will still do that. They put up a 30-day shield so they don't have to worry about it. They'll pop in for 5 or 10 minutes, go kill some freebooters, and just claim a bunch of chests and be like, I'm done. Hit your refinery pulls and log right back out, and just kind of do the absolute bare minimum to keep making any progression. Oh, it's a mining event for the battle pass? Great, I'll do that. That's fine. Oh, I have to go kill these stupid new hostiles? Nah, I ain't doing that. Screw that. Oh, it's a domination event? Yeah, great. I'll just spend some officer XP. Boom, I'm done. So, maybe that's the thing. Or maybe it's just their way of protesting. They want engagement to look so low that they're not even going to do even that. They want the numbers to drop so low, so they kind of send the message that, hey, don't do this again. We don't want this kind of content in our game. And the jury's still going to be out in terms of who was the driving factor in this. Was this a Paramount pushing them this on Scopely? Kind of more leaning towards that. We'll say 60-40. It was probably a little bit more Paramount pushing it, and Scopely trying to find a creative way to make this work and to appease them. And this is the best they could come up with. The best spin they could put on it. So, unless you're not the type to condemn an arc, you're willing to just give it a chance. That's where I'm at too, right? Again, if they implement it and everything isn't, super paywalled and things like that, and you can actually engage in the events, um, it could be fine. It could be good. It could be like Lower Decks, where it ends up actually becoming one of the better arcs because of the long-term effect it might have on the game. Or, too much of it is paywalled and restricted, or it's too complicated of a loop, or there's too many currencies involved, like Silent Hostels, where you're going here, but you can't go to this system because they drop different loot than this system, and, you know, a lot of that nonsense. I don't think they'll do that again, hopefully. Hopefully they learned from that one just how uh, PO'd everybody was about the way Silent Hostels function. They still haven't done anything about it. They know we're mad. They know we don't like it. But I guess they feel like, well, that's in the rearview window and that's behind us now, and we're just on to new content there.